We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of individuals and the unity and integrity of the nation. What I just stated is the preamble, the soul of the Indian Constitution. Our Indian Constitution is the supreme law of our land, and it is not just a political legal document which deals with the functioning of the government, but it is also a moral and philosophical document which deals with the vision of Indian society and people of India as a whole. Having said that, galaxy of intellectuals, adult scholars, and my dear brothers and sisters, a very heartful morning to one and all. Myself, this is Mohan Tanuja, present before you to speak about the constitutional heritage, 75 years of constitutional heritage, and the progress that we have achieved. In the 75 years of constitutional heritage, before starting the heritage that we have given, that we have achieved, on 9th December 1946, when the Constituent Assembly sat together for the first time, they were presented with the questions of dealing or making a document or constitution for a country which is country and its people who are living in a society that was marred by communal strife, caste conflicts, poverty, unemployment, and that was oppressed for nearly 200 years by the colonial masters. So when the Constituent Assembly was presented by these questions, the crucial questions of that time, they had to frame a document which will be shaping the destiny of millions of people together. So when the Constitution came into force on 26 January 1950, it is the hope and beacon of light for many people. And the heritage that we have inherited from the Constitution include that we are upholding the rule of law, we are the world's largest democracy, and we are having minority rights, we are having all the sorts of liberties and freedoms. We are having right to equality, and we are having right to life, and many other penumbra rights that come under right to life. And coming to the progress that we have achieved in the 75 years of our constitutional being include, firstly, in the legal sphere, with the Keshwananda Bharati case of 1973, the Supreme Court of India innovated the doctrine of basic structure, which provided for checking or limiting the supremacy of the parliament in completely amending the constitution or totalitarianism of the parliament. And it provided for preserving the essence of the constitution as is needed, as is envisioned by our constitution makers. And coming to the political sphere, by the 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1985, 10th schedule was incorporated into our constitution, and anti-defection law. The 10th schedule is also known as anti-defection law, and the anti-defection law is aimed at curbing fragmented politics and maintaining stability in the coalition governments. And within the political sphere, another progress that we have made include the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Acts, which provided for the constitutionalization of Panchayati Raj institutions and urban local bodies, providing for direct democracy and empowering the citizens. And on this note, I would like to give a statistics that around 31 lakh representatives are part of Panchayati Raj institutions as of now, and 46% of the 31 lakh representatives are women. So that is a great progress that our constitution has achieved. If we compare from the 1950 period, when India was very backward, when India was underdeveloped country, when India was completely oppressed by the colonial masters, and from there, in the political sphere, from coming out of the anarchy, we have achieved proper democracy, which is based upon the values of republicanism and other sort of values. And coming to the social sphere, our constitution provided for reservation system in Article 15 and Article 16, and for empowering minorities, various articles like 23, 24, and 28 to 30, and all those articles were provided for empowering the minorities. And women were empowered by by the provision of reservation, like 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Acts provided for 33% of reservation for women in the local bodies, and 106th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2023 provided for 33% of reservation for women in parliament and state legislative assemblies and state legislative bodies. So apart from political sphere, we are if we move to the social spheres, as I have said about the women and all those people, and economic sphere, coming to the major financial reform within the ambit of constitution that the parliament has brought out include the GST Act, that is 101st Constitutional Amendment Act of 2016, which provided for federal outlook of constitution, and it provided for it provided for prevention of cascading effect of taxes, and it even provided for the establishment of constitutional federal body, that is the GST Council, by insertion of Article 279A into the constitution. And coming to the economic sphere, it is done. And coming to the environmental jurisprudence. Environmentally, the Supreme Court had played a major role by recognizing different rights, environment-related rights within the ambit of the Constitution. Like in the Mussoorie case of 1985, the Supreme Court recognized that right to clean environment is part of Article 21. So, in this way, within the 75 years of Indian independence journey and within the 75 years of Indian constitutional journey, within different spheres like the legal sphere, the political sphere, the economic sphere, social sphere, and the environmental sphere, and many more, the constitution has been progressing forward and moving ahead by adopting new principles, by taking upon new goals and new achievements, and it had been marching ahead by providing Indian citizens with a better life. Coming to the part of what Indian founding fathers had envisioned. The Indian founding fathers hoped that Indian constitution would be a good constitution. It is not. It wouldn't be limited by the rules or it won't be static. They hoped that it will be a dynamic book which will be living and organic. And realizing that aspect, thanks to judicial interpretations, parliamentary constitutional amendments, and ever-vigilant citizenry and different sorts of associations which were constantly moving ahead to uphold the constitutional values, Indian constitution stands tall. Indian constitutional achievement is something that is great. 75 years is a long journey. If we take the example, or if we take the comparison with our neighboring countries itself, Nepal itself had 5 constitutions, Pakistan had 3 constitutions, Bhutan had 5 constitutions as such, and France, which had its revolution in 1789, changed its constitution for 5 times, with each constitution having an average life of around 20 years. So if we compare with other nations, with other major nations, other developed nations, or even our neighboring countries, our Indian constitution had a great achievement. That is, it had 75 long years of existence, and it continues to be relevant even today. So on this note, celebrating the 75 years of independence and 75 years of constitutions being, I would like to wish all of you people 75 years of constitutions being and Republic Day. And I would like to conclude by paraphrasing the words of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. On the final session of the Constituent Assembly, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar spoke that on the 26th January, when the Constitution comes into commencement, Indians will be entering a life of contradictions. And the life of contradictions is one in which Indians will have political equality. That is, there will be a recognition of one man, one vote, and one vote, one value. But there won't be a social and economic equality that is guaranteed by the Constitution, because thanks to the social and economic structure of India. And it is the goal of every citizen of India and every government that steps onto the helm to achieve social and economic equality, because without social and economic equality, the political equality and political democracy will be itself at peril. On this note, I would like to conclude by saying a fundamental duty. That is, it is the duty of every citizen of India to abide by the Constitution, respect its ideals and institutions. Thank you.